as promised, we have finished the Suscovich Chicken Tractor, and it's been running for 2 weeks. So I can talk about the pros and the cons of this one versus the Salatin Tractor, which we built, and we've been running it for 4 weeks. And I can talk about the pros and cons of that one as well. So get ready for a compare and contrast. Let's talk about the Suscovich Tractor. One of the things I like about the Suscovich Tractor is that it holds up to about 35 birds. It's easy for me to get in and out. It's lightweight so that myself or my wife or one of my kids can easily pull it to the next spot of green grass each day. Another pro that I really like about the Suscovich Tractor is that when I'm pulling the tractor, I can actually see easily all the way into the back to see if maybe I'm catching a bird or so, and I don't want to run any of them over, but I can clearly see all the way to the back to be able to pull the tractor to its next spot each and every day. One of the other pros I can see about the Suscovich Tractor is that if for whatever reason, if we had to move to another property, or if we were leasing out some new property to run chickens on, I can easily load this back onto a trailer and haul it to wherever I need to go. I like the versatility that this tractor offers. If I want to use this for some other animal, I could put ducks in here. If I had to, I could put rabbits, realizing I know they might burrow out, so I have to make some adjustments. I could put a little puppy in here if I needed to, or a little baby goat for whatever reason, especially if I need to isolate it. Speaking of isolation, if I need to introduce chickens, new egg layers to the rest of my flock, I could put those new egg layers in here as well, and give them some time to get used to the rest of the flock and vice versa. Love the versatility of this particular tractor. Hey, here's a trick that we learned and that works best for us from previous experience. I love guinea fowl, and what we decided to do this time around, like we did the very first time, was to raise 4 guinea fowl with 6 Buff Orpington chicks. And by raising them together, they get bonded together as a flock. And of course, they're in a containment area right now where they're being introduced to the rest of our bigger flock for our egg layers. But I just wanted to point this out that for us, this is the best way to make sure that they don't fly away once we let them out to roam it out in free range and in the pasture. All right, some of the cons to this particular chicken tractor. Number one, it can only hold 35 birds. I mean, while that may be a positive also, but it can also be a negative, which means you would have to build more of these type of tractors if you're running more birds. Second thing is the cost. The cost of this particular tractor is almost the same as the Salatin Tractor. And yet the Salatin Tractor is much bigger. It can hold up to about 80 birds. There's a higher profile on this particular tractor, so if we get a bad windstorm, there's a good chance that some straight line winds could knock this particular tractor over. All right, one of the last things that I think is a negative necessarily, maybe it could depend on where you live, is a white tarp that's recommended in the book. Now, this particular white tarp that we put on here actually let in so much sunlight that it got really hot inside, and these poor birds were just panting. So what we did is we had some of this grain bag material, which is a heavy plastic. It's black on the inside, white on the outside, and we just kind of draped it over the middle, put some bricks down here to kind of hold it down in case it got a little windy, and that seemed to darken it a little bit better. So I don't know, maybe if we put a little bit darker tarp on there, that might provide some better shade for the birds on the inside, especially during the heat waves that we're currently experiencing right now. like to talk about some of the pros for the Joe Salatin tractor. We've got a 10 by 12 foot tractor. That's 120 square foot. It's about 1.5 feet for each bird. Maximum capacity, according to those plans, 80 birds, and we have 80 birds in this particular tractor. Also, this particular tractor allows for maximum protection against the sun, which means it has some good shaded areas while still giving a big area so they can be in the sunshine. Another thing I like about this particular tractor is that it has a low profile. Again, out here where we live, we get some pretty hard straight line winds, and if it's something taller than what this is, it might blow over. But this has a low profile, good in the winds. We like this one. For as many birds that this particular tractor holds, this is probably the most cost-effective tractor that we could build on our particular farm. All right, the original plans for the Joe Salatin tractor was to put this corrugated tin on the very back all the way across, totally sealing in the birds. But what we decided to do, just because of the heat wave, again, we thought we need to make a modification. So we put hardware cloth on here on the back so no predators can get in. You got plenty of airflow that's going in there. And then when we need to, all we have to do is put the corrugated tin right back on there over the hardware cloth, and now we're sealed up again. All right, now let's talk about the cons. This thing is pretty heavy. And as my wife and I are getting up in age, we've got to be able to do this by ourselves. So pulling this thing, as much as we have to pull it 10 feet every day, I'm sorry, 12 feet. Yep, 12 feet every day. It can get tough because it's heavy and hard to pull. Another thing is, come processing time, when these birds are market weight and I have to get in there to be able to get the birds physically out to get them processed, I'm not sure yet how I'm gonna be able to get in here other than get down on my hands and knees and crawl underneath there. We have no flap here on the back that can maybe reach down in there and help grab birds.
It's almost 2 weeks to the day since we put them in this Salatin tractor. And between a week of him being away at camp, and it took us a week to get even the Suscovich tractor made. Now, granted, we're not carpenters.
No, it's not like we're full-time carpenters or anything.
Or professional.
With years of experience.
Or even hobby carpenters.
Right.
So if we can do this, you can do it.
That's right.
So now we have to move 30 birds over to the Suscovich tractor, and it's really, really hot today. Like, it's the hottest day it's been this year.
So far.
Yeah.
Yep.
So it's probably a really good time to give them some space.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. We're gonna put the food in to lure the chickens to the front. I've got a trough here. They like the trough better for some reason. It's like the sound of it, the look of it. I don't know what it is, but they just love it. So here we go. Here we go. Chick, 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 chick. Here we go. Chick, 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 chick. Either that or it's just too hot for them to all start eating.
But there's enough chickens there to pull now.
Okay. Oh. Oh. All right. Another con. You can't really put other animals in it. I mean, you can put ducks in there. Maybe you can put some rabbits and stuff in there, but you're going to run into the same problems with those animals that you have with the chickens, the meat bird chickens. One, if they go in the back and you have to move it, it's hard to see. How are you going to reach in there and grab them when they're way in the back? So not too versatile necessarily for something like that. The other thing is, again, what if we have to move? How do we put this without a forklift tractor or some other type of tractor? How do we put it on a trailer and actually transport it? To me, that's a con. We're not going to be able to do that as far as that goes. But one of the final things is that when I'm pulling this 12 feet every day, I can't see all the way into the back. I have to listen to know if I'm accidentally running over a bird or getting its foot caught. I just can't see. All right, so we found some other solutions for a con that we had, that how difficult it is to pull. And so we found some modifications where we put wheels on it. And so here's what we from our research, here's what we came up with as well. These are the wheels that my wife and I have put on here to make it a little bit easier to pull. In the morning, again, they just flip around, do the same thing to the other side, and it gets it up off the ground a little bit, and it's a little bit easier to pull. Otherwise, you would have to make the Salatin dolly for this particular chicken tractor in order to help make it a little bit easier to pull. And we just have the one tractor right now, so we didn't need to do that. All right, so what's my final verdict when I compare and contrast the Suscovich Chicken Tractor to the Joe Salatin Chicken Tractor? It's a tough call. The Joe Salatin gives me a lot of problems as far as being able to maintenance everything and feed the birds, but it's cost effective. I can move the most birds, 80 birds, in one shot, where the Suscovich, 35 birds max as far as the square footage is concerned. However, all that being said, I prefer the Suscovich Chicken Tractor because it's easier to pull, easier to get in and out of, and I can see the birds clearly each and every time I'm working with them. I hope you enjoyed this particular video, the pros and cons of those two different types of chicken tractors, and we look forward to seeing you again here at Maplewood Homestead.